Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 166 of our show here. Q3 is almost through, and we are here to once again give you a thrill on a Friday morning. I'm joined behind my fearless co-host behind the mahogany desk, the richest mahogany. His name is Sean Bennett. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're coming into the final prep weekend for Japan. It's officially here. We have
Wow.
arrived. It is the final weekend. We have one more episode that'll be coming out before I leave, and I'll give you probably a summary of how my packing weekend went. But we are one weekend away from
Oh,
from out to Japan. So I'm a little stressed. I have a lot to do this weekend, a lot of stuff to pack, a lot of stuff I need to buy to make sure I have everything. But I'm less concerned because I also know that if push comes to shove, worst case, I can probably buy everything there if I need to. So I'm not super stressed, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't forget anything. But yes, we are going into final prep weekend for Japan.
I love it. Did you get your packing cubes?
I did not get the packing cubes. I'm getting them
Oh,
this weekend.
okay. All right. All
I
right. So
am. Trust me. You are now the third person this year that has told me how many times, like, have said multiple times, you have to get packing cubes. It is a non-negotiable. Go get packing cubes. So I'm actually going to be going out to REI this weekend to go get the packing cubes.
nice. I have to say, man, I've done now two trips. I just am off the heels of another quick 1 day business trip. And the thing that surprised me about the packing cubes is I used to say, oh, I have a roller bag. Why would I need additional packing help? I put it all in the bag. I think the thing that it really does is it compartmentalizes it further. So there's no
Yeah.
guessing. So literally, you just kind of pull them all out. In the hotel, I was able to just pull them out of the bag, unzip the lids. And it's almost then like, okay, that's there, that's there. And so packing back in was a breeze.
Hmm.
And I think there's something to it. And go figure, this episode is going to be all about efficiency gains. Something about your mind when you start to compartmentalize further. I think there's a level in which it gets to be too much, right? You wouldn't want to put another bag within your packing cube bag. But that's two-tier of like bag within a bag seems
Hmm.
to work well with just the process of planning. I think
Yep.
that's the thing that really has impressed me because it's just, okay, I have my three packing cubes, and it's like each one has a specific designation. It's labeled, right? In your mind, I'm saying socks and underwear go in that one. Workout clothes go in that one. Everything else goes in that one. And
Hmm.
then, so it's like very clear. And isn't that beautiful about our
It is.
minds that
It
you
is.
can,
That's part of that backpacking trick that you still do, where you lay everything out beforehand and everything is fully cataloged and categorized and you know what's in there. I think that's where the packing cubes come in from what I've heard from other people is that you know what's in there, you know you could just grab this has that, and you don't have to rumble through. I think that's what I hate the most about
yes.
the big bag that I have now is there are zero compartments. It's one big compartment, which means everything just gets shoved into that thing.
Yeah.
And then, flying and traveling and everything, it all gets jostled around. And when you finally get to your destination and you get out of the shower and you want to go find clothes, you have to ruffle through everything because everything has just been jumbled and shaken apart. So I'm looking forward to getting some of those packing cubes.
Yeah. No, I highly recommend. And then did you end up pulling the trigger on a new bag or are you staying with the same old, same
I
old?
think I'm gonna try and make the same old work. If I can't, then I'm gonna go probably get a new bag. But I think, well, I guess by same old, it probably doesn't mean the same thing you think it means. I'm not doing my roller bag.
Oh,
So
okay.
my same old is gonna be I either get a new bag or I'm gonna be bringing my backpacking Osprey
Okay.
backpack because I don't want to carry like I don't want to have a roller bag. It's just period. I don't want to
Yeah.
have one. I want to have everything on my back and be able to just walk away whenever I want to. So I think I'm gonna try and do everything just in my current Osprey bag
Yeah.
because it has, I already paid for it. But if I
I
can't get it to
couldn't agree
work,
more.
then I'm gonna probably go get a new bag this weekend.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I'm with you on. it's so nice to look and see, ooh, I could have this new bag, and then you see the price. And it
Yes.
just seems like I don't get it, Sean. Again, I shared last week, I think, that I have a North Face bag that I got on clearance. It was at the outlets, so it was a
Hmm.
brand new bag, but it was under $100. It was sub a
Dang.
hundred. And whenever you see that, it's like, oh yeah, I can buy a new bag. But
Hmm.
nothing is ever under $100 today. It's all like 225,
Yeah, the
300.
cheapest I was finding was 200 plus tax.
That to me is just for a bag. Question mark. I mean, it just doesn't seem to add up today.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
like that disparity in price doesn't make sense to me because this is North Face. It's bulletproof. You trust me. Like when you feel like everything's like very robust. And the girl even told me, she's like, if any of this stuff breaks, literally just come in and we'll fix it.
Hmm.
Or if we can't, you'll get another one. I'm like, and I paid $50. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's
So
that's that's a returning customer if I've seen one.
yeah, yeah, that was definitely and it's been great. I mean, I've had the roller bag and the backpack for the last two trips, and with the packing cubes, it's been a real nice thing. Now I understand Japan is much more compact. Like when
Yep.
I go to New York, I go the single bag route because
Yep.
it's urban, you're on the move, you don't want to be dragging a roller bag around in the streets.
That's kind
And
of the same thing in Japan. Everything is going to be walking. It's either going to be
yes,
walking or on a train. So I don't, that's why when I was in Europe, I hated having my roller back.
yeah,
Like I
it's no
truly
fun.
did. Going between buses and trains and then walking to your hotels and everything. It was so annoying to have to carry this bag. And then not even just the physical carrying of it, but the sound, the click, 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 click as it's hitting every brick in all the streets was just, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to avoid it if I can.
And it
That'll be my
clicks.
like road trip packing bag,
Yeah,
not for travel, I think.
it clicks the back of your heels too as you're walking. Like that, you know what I mean? It's not long
Uh-huh.
enough to get all the way back there. So
Yep.
that's my biggest pet peeve is I'll be walking and then I'm clicking it with the back of my heels. Like, knock it off back there. So no, I mean everything is this is first world problems, but I think it sounds like you're on the right track.
Hmm.
Um, it's good to hear that you're putting so much thought into it. And I'm trying to think of anything. I did do Sedona this last weekend as well. So it was just a
Okay.
full blown. Oh man, it was so sweet. Yeah, 50 miles uh on the bike, on the mountain bike. And no,
Mm.
this time, Sean, believe it or not, I did not hit the dirt.
Really? Was it
Yes,
all
and
gravel
that's
or all road?
no, it's all this is all mountain. Like
Oh,
Sedona
okay.
mountain biking.
Wow.
Trails, like you're on trails the whole time.
Huh.
And I'm surprised because I think that's the
Oh, you by
first
hit the dirt,
time
you mean you didn't fall. I
I
thought you were
meant
saying
yeah.
you didn't ride on dirt.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, misinterpreting. I meant did not fall off my bike one time over the weekend, and that is a
Dang.
record for me.
That's impressive for you. Almost every single time you come back from one of those trips, you have some new bruise or scrape or
I
something from falling off.
For sure. And so it was a good. It made me feel good. We were dodging the rain the whole time too, which was kind of a neat.
Hmm.
Just I can't tell you. I think I've had more days dodging rain and inclement weather in Sedona than I've had beautiful days, which is such a funny thing. Like I've had snow, I've had rain, I've had hail. I and I it's mainly because I'm always going at certain times, but this is just late September. They're really I mean again, I guess it's like a half and half, but it's supposed to be gorgeous. So
Hmm.
anyway, that was a little bit surprising. The one weekend Arizona gets rain, we have not had a lot of it. We need it, but yeah, dodging it a little bit and
Hmm.
yeah, every got wet one the middle it was like a thunder lightning day actually. So it was raining and thunder lightning and my buddy said he got an epic photo in his mind's eye of me coming down this one trail into this small junipers. That's the beautiful thing about Sedona is it has these juniper forests. So they're small little, they're not like pines. They don't go up as
Hmm.
high, right? They're a little bit lower to the ground. Um, and I think they're probably about 12 to 20 is what they range at. And he got one where I was diving into it and in the background was just black sky and a light and like lightning bolts coming down as
Ooh.
I yeah, and I was dude, that's a cool image right there. Did it look sweet? He's like, yeah, you look really cool. So that was a good time. but ready for a little bit of rest. I think it's maybe coming here soon. I'm not sure, Sean. We're in the thick of it as we have been. And this episode, listeners, is going to be all about our efficiencies, but we're specifically going to be covering AI efficiencies today. So this is things that Sean and I are doing with AI in our own lives as engineers, and we want to share them with you. And if you haven't been using it, maybe this is a starting point for you to understand what you could do or couldn't do with it. We hope to cover that all in this episode. But first, we got to welcome you into the best place to be on a Friday, which is the How to Hobby Lounge. Come on in. We got the plushest seats in town. Sean and me had them freshly reupholstered for 2025, and man, they just fit perfectly. So we hope you enjoy this time of coming in, grabbing yourself a choice beverage, sitting yourself down, strapping in, getting ready for some more rip roaring content. Please, if you're enjoying this show and everything it brings to you in your life every Friday, leave us a 5-star review and or share the episode or the show with a friend. We'd appreciate it. That's how we keep the lights on here. And you can follow us at our Instagram, and that's at How to Hobby Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel as well. We've been putting up our episodes every week. And then our Gmail for all business inquiries and more in-depth conversations is How to Hobby Podcast at gmail.com. So with that, why don't we dive into the rest of this episode? And I'm really excited because this is going to be all about our AI efficiencies today. Sean, take it away.
Yeah, so we actually had some fun with this. We were going back and forth on what we think AI is today, because I think that it's changed a lot in the last, I don't know, 10 years. Whereas when AI, I think, was first introduced as a concept, it scared a lot of people, right? It was, oh my God, the computers are going to take over. But I think that as we've all learned more and more about what AI is today, it's less of the real true artificial intelligence. I think it's just large language modeling is what almost all AI is based on today. So it's able to have conversational tones with you, but then have access to the internet, have databases where it can pull all of this knowledge from. So we actually asked Copilot what AI today is. Like, what did it think AI is? And this was its response. AI today is remarkably capable, which I find that very funny that AI is telling us it's remarkably capable, transforming industries, reshaping creativity, and enhancing everyday life. And here's a breakdown of what it's doing right now. So I think the most common AI that most people will think of is what is called a conversational agent. So this is everything from like ChatGPT, Copilot. It's the very conversational side of stuff. It's not really using it for much else. It's like a lot of used for writing, a lot of teaching, sometimes brainstorming ideas. It's more of the content generation, not necessarily anything with data or really getting into the nitty gritty, but it's the conversation. It's what most of us are probably more familiar with. Most likely, I think everyone in their mind is envisioning ChatGPT. I think that's probably the one that everyone is most familiar with. And the one that I think that's where I started, really, when we'll talk a little bit more about how we use AI in our current lives today. But I think that's where it all started for most of us was kind of going towards ChatGPT. And then you move towards another kind of AI is image generation. There are endless numbers of AI image generators out there. These can create realistic or stylized images from text prompts. And I think the coolest part is I saw it was comparing AI of, I think, 2020 to AI of today. And for anyone who's familiar with this, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. It's the AI of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Do you remember that first image generation? Okay. So you'll have to go find it because it looked like the Starry Night. It was all completely twisted, and as it's trying to piece images together to make Will Smith eating spaghetti, it's like all of a sudden he turns into spaghetti, and then it's just, as AI is trying to work through it. And then they compared a modern version of AI doing the same prompt, and it looks literally like a recorded video. And I think seeing the videos on Instagram sometimes of, okay, of these four videos, which one do you think was made with AI? And they play the four videos and they go, okay, all of these were made with AI. And it just blows you away because you're thinking there's no way that these are that realistic. So I think that's another one that most people are super familiar with. Then you go into automation of reports and insights. This is most likely what people are using AI professionally for, and I'll go into how I've used it to do some of this stuff. So it's summarizing complex data sets and generating actionable insights from data. So there's kind of the three most common: conversational, image generation, and then automation of reports and insights, the ones that I really use it for most often. Do you have any opinions or experiences with either of those three? Have you used all three of those different kinds of AI in your
Yeah, I
either
mean,
work or
I
professional
think
life?
I maybe view them. I guess it's hard to say how you look at it as different agents. I think the best are they're all packaged into one. It just depends on how you're prompting it.
Yep.
That's the way I sort of look at it. I think today, the more impressive is not necessarily the conversational side of it, because that's just predictive modeling. That's just a how you would maybe expect somebody to want to hear a response. I think I get more excited about the insights and the comparative data side of it. So as I mean, even this industry is moving so fast, is what I would say. And when it comes to AI, even 6 months ago, it's not what it was
Hmm.
now. And so your little comparison video that you were mentioning, looking back at Will Smith eating spaghetti back when they were just training some of this, that's clearly again train test split. That's what they do. They're feeding the AI images, they're feeding it data, and it's then producing things based on what it's been trained on. And so it had been trained on spaghetti and it wanted to be more organic that day or thought that's what you wanted to see. So I think, yeah, working through data in general, churning through data is kind of the thing I get most excited about. I'll be honest with you, I have not done much image generation at all. Um, so I'm interested to hear kind of more what you have done. Do you use Chat GPT for image generation, or is there
I've
a
used
specific?
Copilot. I've used Copilot at work
Okay.
for image generation for funny cartoons and stuff. I know that there are friends of mine from college who use it to actually create real art. So a lot of really wild graphics and fractals and stuff I've seen AI used for that kind of crazy art too. So I don't do any of that, but I do know that there definitely are people out there that use it for that.
Yeah, I want to find this. I know there's something with Meta specifically, and it's in
Hmm.
their WhatsApp. They have a really good image generator because people have been doing that for their profile pictures, people that I
Hmm.
know. I haven't done it yet, so if listeners probably have, maybe they've done it, haven't done it, but I know that Meta specifically, the beautiful thing about AI right now is it's all open source. So
Yeah.
that is a really interesting side of it. And as they're producing, like the Meta AI engine or the kernel is completely open source. So every time they enhance it, and these enhancements are literally happening month to month at this point. Like, and I don't think that's going to stop. I think that's the beautiful thing here, Sean, is as compute just continues to go, as compute goes, it's gonna it's gonna be rip roaring here for a while, and we'll
Yep.
continue to see things that really probably are almost unbelievable as we're growing in this industry. Now, again, I want to move into maybe the more scary side of it, and we'll talk through the challenges here. So, some of the challenges, listeners, from AI, and actually, again, this was from Copilot itself, said this um, bias and fairness. So, that's the first thing that it mentioned as a challenge. And I think that one, it's easy to interpret that, but I'll give the description. So AI can reflect or amplify societal biases if not carefully managed. And again, that sort of goes back to what I was saying in the predictive response side of it. The thing could just be giving you what you what it thinks you want to hear as a general person on this planet. And I
Yeah.
think it's
And
fair. That's
I think
probably
it's
what you're getting.
also, yeah, exactly. And I think it's also part of it is everybody treats these as a fully its own entity without
Mhm.
remembering that it's programmed by people, and people have natural biases and fairness problems built into our DNA. It's just part of being human. And then we are now training these large language models to use other human data to be able to give us the responses it thinks us humans want. And so it's going to end up inherently having bias and unfairness. It's just because it's built on humans, and that's just how it is. So I think that's important to remember that it's not infallible. That just because ChatGPT says something or that Copilot says something does not mean it's end all be all. You have to take everything with a grain of salt no matter what. And that's the other thing is that it's really big with dependence on data. There's this common saying in engineering, garbage in, garbage out. If you provide garbage in to the analysis model or to the design or to the data you're giving the conversational engine or image generation or whatever, it's going to give you bad data back. It's going to give you bad reports. It's going to give you skewed results because your data was skewed. That's where it can be really dangerous too. And I kind of fear for college students it in how prevalent I would assume AI has become in universities now because I fear that kids are just going to take it as end all be all and just dump data in and just trust whatever it says without using any critical thought. And you have to think about it because if you provide bunk data, it's going to provide bunk results and stuff coming out of it. So it's important that because it's dependent on, again, humans, you have to take the fact that there are humans that are creating all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that is for sure going to be a problem moving forward. I mean, how do we know what we know is being said? And the big final is, its explainability is the way it described this, but because of that black box nature, we don't actually know how the decisions are being made on our behalf. And I think for me, that's the scariest thing. At the end of the day, just where we're at now, when we're talking about continually prompting something, it's building a data set on our data. Then at that
Yep.
point, I just had the way it wanted to then move forward was based on the last conversation I had with Copilot. So
Hmm.
again, it's already trying to then make a predictive, and it's like, no, I wouldn't want to make that comparison. That doesn't make sense to me. But it doesn't know yet. It doesn't know enough about me. It doesn't
Yep.
know how to move forward in a perfectly human way, right? It would be like having a really awkward conversation with the worst awkward engineer or something. Somebody who just doesn't, maybe just gets concerned in social situations. I feel like that's sort of where your initial AI or sometimes your AI prompted conversations can go.
Yep.
So with that, Sean, let's move into kind of more the fun side here and talk through our AI use patterns personally. So this is
Yeah.
how we're actually using this both professionally and in our personal lives. And with knowing that AI is here, we need to know the challenges. We need to know that it potentially has some fallbacks or things that are not completely perfect. Go figure, because it was made by humans and we're not perfect. But how can we use it? And that's what we want to talk through today. As again, this has been all about gaining back efficiencies for our daily lives. I do think AI has the capability to do that in certain aspects. So
Yeah.
let's move into that.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with what I use it for professionally in my day-to-day job. So for anyone that doesn't know, I am a senior mechanical engineer for ASML, which is a tech company here in San Diego that makes the machines that make the microchips that allow AI to be used. We are very dependent on the AI industry, which was why it was so funny that ASML was so hesitant to allow AI tools. They're a very secret company. They don't want anything to be leaked. And so they were very afraid of bringing AI in because they were afraid of people uploading drawings or asking it specific data-driven questions that could be, potentially leaking classified data out from our networks. They were originally hesitant to allow it, but what they did do was eventually bring in basically an offline copy of Microsoft Copilot. So you can feed data and stuff into it, but it does not connect to the internet. which is pretty cool that you can still use it as the language model and data aggregation, but they have very strict rules. You can't upload documents, like period. You can't well, I guess you can upload Word docs, and that's how we use it for data aggregation, but you can't put drawings, you can't put really anything. They're very afraid of data, of confidential data leaking.
Yes.
So I mainly use it for a few different things. The first one is data aggregation. I don't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast or not, but a few months ago, I joined a team specifically focused on helping build career development within the mechanical development department. We're getting low scores year after year on our internal surveys, and so they asked for anyone who wanted to volunteer to become part of a committee to lead the career growth of our department, and so I volunteered. Well, we ended up running surveys to try and understand what people's minds were at, where they were at, why they were struggling, what their feelings were, could they talk with their managers, things like that. Well, when we interviewed the entire department, it brought back a mass amount of data to us. We had 12 questions times roughly 100 people. We had roughly 1,200 responses that we had to try and parse through to understand how people were feeling and what was going on. It was just too much for us to do because this was just a volunteer committee. It was not part of our daily jobs. It was on top of our daily jobs. So we took all of those responses in Excel and actually uploaded them into Microsoft Copilot and then asked it to give us feedback and summarize and give us, are there common things everybody's saying? Are there things that only a couple of people are saying, but maybe they're outliers? And we used it to aggregate all this data. We built Word docs and we built PowerPoints that we then went and presented to our higher management. And these are actually changing things here at the company. We are implementing new initiatives to try and improve career. We're doing, panels with the managers. Like we've done a lot coming out of it that really wouldn't have been possible without Copilot. Like that was crucial to help us parse through that data. And that was a fantastic way to use Copilot. It was really, really cool and pretty spot on. We would spot check, go through, make sure what it was finding was actually real, and it actually was. Some of the other things I've used it for are rewriting emotional emails and Teams messages. We all have it where you get that email and it just really frustrates you, and you do your first response as some really snappy, how dare you kind of email. Then we always take a breath and then we rewrite it. That's a much more professional way of doing it. I've used a Copilot to do the same thing. If there's messages, I write out this super angry message, then I say, please help me word this in a more professional manner. And then it'll help me rewrite everything. Same with emails, messages. That's really helpful. I use it when we were doing the data aggregation. We were also using it for image generation because we wanted to make funny memes and cartoons to make people laugh and to make them focus on the data. So we would take the data we put in there, then we would ask it, okay, can you help us make a cartoon infographic with an ASML employee doing this? We want this in the background. And it would click, 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 take a
Wow.
couple seconds, and then boom, create this entire cartoon of it's really funny. We had asked it to help us create a cartoon of an ASML employee confused about their career growth. And so it popped this whole thing out where it's a dude standing there, he's looking confused, and then on there's like this whiteboard that says career at ASML, and then it had a bunch of different boxes and things. It was like a big graphic. It was genius. It was very genius how well it completely created this brand new cartoon that we used and got several laughs from it. So we used it for that. Then the thing I probably use it for the most often is coming up with table topics for our weekly Toastmasters meeting. So I'm the president of our club, and we do weekly meetings where we have to do table topics, and that's impromptu speaking. So it's giving everyone 90 to 120 seconds to answer a random question that they didn't know ahead of time, and they just have to get up in front of a room of people and speak. And I use it a lot for coming up with, okay, I need 12 because 12 people showed up to the meeting. I need 12 table topics, Toastmaster table topics questions themed around summer. They all need to use this word in it. And then it'll click, click, click. And okay, do you want it to make it more professional? Do you want to make it more summer themed? Do you want to make it? And I'll go, okay, I want these to be more focused around hobbies and click, click, click. It'll give me 12 new questions. I can craft that. And then I go, okay, everybody here, pick a number 1 through 12. As soon as you say your number, you're getting up and giving a speech. It saves me so much time without having to craft all of these questions and all of these speaking prompts. And it's really cool. So I really like using Copilot professionally. I know that there's things that I haven't even discovered yet, and I could use it more to its max, but it has changed the game and how we do a lot of the more simple stuff at work.
Man, that's super cool. No, I think it's kind of getting me excited just hearing you talk about your applications professionally. It's such a new field, and I think if you're a person out there that hear me out on this one, Sean, if you find yourself thinking and wanting to have more active conversations on a dime, for me as a person, I'll share, I always have plenty of thoughts rattling through my brain. And especially through a work day, I like to let my thoughts kind of go lucid in terms of I don't want to tap anything.
Hmm.
Because if I'm having the thought, it probably means it's a good thought and it needs to be fleshed out further. And that's the one reason that I continue to say there is a need to be in the office. When I'm in the office, I'm so much more dialed into what's going on.
Yep.
I just find it even when I'm walking through the halls on a break or something. Say you just need to take a breather and walk around for a second. Even that action sometimes can generate, oh, I forgot I needed to
Hmm.
do this.
It's
I
true.
see so and so down the hall and I go, oh, that's right. I need to reach out to him. Whereas if I'm at home, I just don't have that lucidity of thought. I don't have that. I'm easily distracted by whatever could be going on in my normal home life, right? There's plenty of things here that just don't belong at work. That's just the first thing. But the thing that I'm finding with these chat generators is I always loved asking so many questions to management or to somebody who has more experience than I do. And sometimes my old tactic was I would just change. I would have a Rolodex of people, and
Hmm.
if I'd get like three questions for each per working day or something. So I once I tap my three questions with that person for the day, then okay, I got to move on to the next person, or he's going to get really frustrated at me and be like,
Yep.
John has no idea what's going on. And that was something I just established naturally, where it just felt right. Like, okay, I need to now move on to the next person that I know is super knowledgeable. And I keep those people on Rolodex. But the thing that ChatGPT and, well, we actually have our own internal generated, just like you do,
Hmm.
internally firewall generated AI predictive model called Galileo that's been self-produced inside, and that's how we keep
Okay.
it from leaking our information to the world. But yeah, we have. I mean, it's wonderful. It has all of our. We've been loading documents. All of our ASTMs, our technical manuals, have been being loaded in for the last 8 months actively, and so now we have an actual predictive language model that can regurgitate any and link, and it gives a relevancy score as well, which is super helpful. And so we've been building on these core capabilities in terms of what it looks like for us to interact with, and it's been really fun. But now I just use it for all these random questions that I might have had about engineering that I still continue to have because you never stop engineering and you never stop learning in this
Yep.
field. So I'm always rattling off just one-off questions. And sometimes I get a good answer and sometimes I don't. But that's part of the vetting process, right? I'd have to vet a response even from a manager or somebody that I trust. So there's no difference here, listeners. And I
Yep.
think maybe starting to shape your mind in that way where it's even when we do, and you sort of alluded to this earlier, Sean, even when we do have a conversation, we're gonna weigh it against our own personal convictions. We're going to say, does this align with me? Is this good or is this bad? And it could be from anybody. It could be from an AI. It could be from a fellow human.
Hmm.
So this isn't something we're not doing, but I do again want to warn and caution people: don't just view AI as the source of truth for everything. It's not going to be. Um, so yeah, the biggest thing I've found value professionally has been one, those questions, two, finding spec numbers. Mechanical property checks have been huge. I'll just
Hmm.
find myself needing a quick TG check. Like I was 3D printing some fixtures to go in a heated environment. I needed to know what material could
Hmm.
handle the high heat that I was going to be having it go into an oven practically, right? The fixture was going to go into an oven. And so I was quickly able to understand which material I needed to check away from my or needed to use for this hot turnaround time fixture that I needed. And again, for me, that was value added. That was just like I needed it quick. I needed to know what it was, and I wasn't at my desk. So I just, oh, what is the TG of these materials? Give me them all. Which one? And then, I was able to quickly target the one that I wanted and utilize it. And guess what? It worked great. That we went and did the bonding and it worked fantastic. Didn't shrivel the first. It's an interesting story actually. Used a lower TG because it was cheap. We have these hobby 3D printers and we had PLA. Are you familiar with
Yep.
PLA?
Yep.
So I printed it with PLA. Unfortunately, this adhesive that I was curing needed to be at 200F.
Okay.
The TG of PLA is like 160, so it's under 200. The thing is, right? Plastics don't just melt; they sort of have a transition region into
Hmm.
what they call sort of more leathery. And so PLA specifically, it's not just going to all of a sudden be nothing at 200, but it's going to be sort of take on this leathery feeling, potentially distort, and then as it cools down, it'll harden up in a really weird shape.
Hmm.
Well, that happened, and it wasn't great. And so I ended up having to use our actual real 3D printers. We have like a 3D print shop downstairs that's like for professional
Hmm.
mechanical parts. And I ended up using ABS. And ABS
Okay.
has actually, it was right on the button. Its TG is 200. And so I was still flirting with, um, and this is, listeners, this is always how it goes in our world. The reason why I was forced to use that one was because all the other printers that could have the higher temp material were one, completely booked up for weeks. Two, Ultim was the one that actually gets you to higher, well above 200. So Ultim 9085, I don't even know what its TG is. It's like the industry standard for high temp, high
Hmm.
capable, high strength 3D printed parts. And so those just are always booked up and that material is always being utilized. But I love this as an example because it just shows the way you have to move and shake in our job where you see the schedule, you know what time frame you need to hit. Schedule was king in this situation, and I needed to say, okay, well, I can't wait for that material. What are my other options? And ChatGPT or a language model helped
Hmm.
here with this solving of this problem. So that's my real world professional example. Uh, Anything that you want to comment on there, Sean, before we move into personal?
Not really. I would just encourage everybody, if your company allows you to use it, try and find different ways to bring it into your work. It doesn't have to be super big things, but I would recommend trying to get into it because it can be very helpful. It can cut down on a lot of cost. It can make you more efficient. It can help open your mind to different things. That I would highly recommend that you see if your company will let you use it. And if they can't, or if they do and you want to try something else, I would also try and experiment with it in your personal life. I would caution to not get too reliant on it. I think a lot of people get a little too reliant and don't really take the time to investigate, make sure that what they're looking at makes sense. But I've used ChatGPT in my personal life to write text messages and mainly research different topics. So it's a lot of, hey, it's very similar to what I was saying with work. Hey, I have this text. Can you help me rewrite this? And it's helped it, take some of the emotion out. And then researching topics. I think the one that sticks out the most for me is about 3 to 4 months ago. I had this random idea of, I kind of want to get my scuba diving certificate. Like I just want to see what
Nice.
it's like. But trying to figure out the highest rated, best scuba diving place in San Diego because there's a lot here because we're next to the water was a little tough. Like I was looking at ones and they all kind of had similar reviews, but I want to make sure it's good bang for your buck. And so I reached out to ChatGPT and I said, help me compile the top 5 scuba diving schools in San Diego and then give me why they're ranked in this order. And it boom, boom, boom lists them all out. And then it would pull data from Yelp reviews, from Google reviews. It would pull data from their websites, from people posting on Reddit or looking at different things. Like it yanked this data from so many different resources where it just scraped the web for anything in relation to these different scuba diving schools. And it was so cool to see them pop up. And then it started giving me price and phone numbers. And here's how you contact. And here's the different kinds of certificates you can get at this school versus this school. And if you're looking for hobby, do this. If you're looking for professional, do that. And it just did all of that automatically. And it was so cool to not have to do all that work myself of trying to compile it. They could compare it all. So that's something I use it a lot for is kind of idea generation and researching different topics, finding info and things like that. But it's important again, be wary of the biases and the dependence on data that come from it. I mean, when Google Gemini first came out, it was hysterically bad at providing terrible advice. I mean, there was one where there was a Reddit post from like 2017 that suggested people should eat one rock per day to help with their gut. And so if you went to Google Gemini and asked it, do you recommend eating rocks? It'll come click, click, click. Yes, it is recommended that you should eat one rock per day. It was pulling from bad data because it was bunk stuff from Reddit. And there were countless other examples of Google Gemini where it was just giving bad data and bad advice, like dangerous advice for what people should be doing. And it's important to know or to pay attention that if the data is coming into it is bad, the recommendations coming out of it are going to be equally as bad.
I got one for you, Sean. This one is hot off the press. It's not even 2017. It's like as of 4 months ago. So
Okay.
Apparently Gemini's been having some funny moments,
Struggles.
struggles. But have you seen their commercial? Their commercial recently
Uh-uh.
is a guy under the sink, and it's Gemini instructing him on how to clean his clean out
Okay.
underneath the sink. Um, well, I find that so funny because I saw that commercial and I was like, oh man, you can bring your phone under the sink and it's going to tell you how to do plumbing work. Well, not even a day later, my buddy comes up to me and says, "Yeah, well, you know what, my friend just we were at the pool having this conversation about AI because it's a
Hmm.
hot toppy right now." And he said, "Well, my brother-in-law just flooded his garage." I said, "What? How'd that happen?" "Oh, well, he was working with Gemini." So he had a water softener system and he was trying to load more salt in. So if
Okay.
you're familiar with water softeners, the salt goes in the big salt bin that's
Hmm.
clearly a salt bin right next to the water softener tanks. And it's a big open trash can looking thing. And that's where you dump your salt in. Well, this guy, not an engineer, so I'll give him some credit, didn't realize this was his first time. I think his wife finally said, "Go out there and you need to put salt in the water softener. It's not working very well." And so he asked Gemini, and Gemini told him, because I think, one of its features is you take a photo and then it tells you
Hmm.
what to do. And that's kind of the way. Well, Gemini told him to, instead of going to the trash can looking thing that has a lid clearly and dumping in the salt there and maybe looking inside and seeing the brine water in there, he decided to listen to Gemini. And Gemini said there's two tanks usually on a water softener system. Um, and well, one to two, I think, depending on your system. His, I believe, just had one, and it's where the water goes from your main into, and it's like an osmosis. It's the circuit,
Hmm.
so that's where it takes the salt in. It's like the brining tank. And Gemini said, no, you take that see that top up there, you take that off, you unscrew that, and then that's where you put the salt in. Technically not wrong, right? Because the
Yeah.
salt does go in there. It makes its way in there and it's going to do some work. But that is a loaded pressure vessel. I mean, it's a composite tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you relieve the pressure and the water is on, which it was on, It pops like a soda can. And he popped the lid. And needless to say, 10,000 gallons later, or however many, his garage was completely flooded. And so I just think, are we there yet, Sean? Um, Yeah, no, not really. And again, this goes into that whole other debate here, which is will AI eventually take your job? That's debatable till the cows come home right now. But I think this example and the one you just shared are just so funny to, like you said, who knows where it got that idea and who knows what the decision was made in its mind. But the poor guy trusted it hook, line, and sinker. And the best part, Sean, he works at Google.
Oh, no
So
way.
he was able to go and give a great review at work on that next Monday. But anyway, it was one of the best stories I've heard in a while now. And I will say, not going to happen every time, but you got to be careful, just like you said. So my personal recent experience with Chat GPT has actually been helping to gain some efficiency back. So this is going to be all about gaining efficiency back. I am strapped to the gills right now in my personal life, my professional life. I was sharing with Sean. I'm transitioning onto a new program at work. I've still got plenty to do on my other job, and it's all just crazy. Personally, same thing. I'm planning this men's retreat. You know that from last week. And I was trying to understand how to get a more efficient. This week, I was just really feeling the stress. And I started thinking, okay, well, I'm the guy, of course, I'm the guy who's doing the food. And so I have to have food there for these guys. There's
Mhm.
12 guys coming. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to lean here heavily on ChatGPT to help me. I already knew which meals I had to make, but the thing that takes time, and you know this, Sean, being a chef, is the quantity. When you're
Yes.
cooking for bulk, how much do you need? And ChatGPT, I'm not going to lie, was able to help me so much over, just something that would have taken me probably at least 3 hours, I think, to really like dial it all in with just using my head. We knocked it out together in 30 minutes. Just
That's
talking through the
impressive.
details. Yeah, and again, it's that feedback loop, right? It's able to text everything down so much faster than I can. And I think that's the key here is if you really are thinking you have a tough problem to crack and it's going to take a lot of actual generation on a keyboard, that's going away.
Hmm.
I don't need to write anymore. It's all prompt. Hey, write me this. Obviously, then you vet it. You got to look through it and you got to make sure the data that it's producing is good. But yeah, no, we're able to knock that out. And I think that was again, I'm continuing to put this through its paces personally. And for me, that was another winning story. I was like just saving time, the sheer
Hmm.
amount of time saved and stress out the window, right? It's like, okay, now I have a plan. I feel much better. We've been talking about this, listener, since day one on this show. Get a plan in place. It makes you feel much better. On
Yep.
to the next. And this is a tool that can definitely work in that way for you. So, closing it out on our use pattern with AI specifically, there are other things that we probably use. So, Sean, let's quickly rattle through some things that we use in our own lives. We don't have a ton of time before the bell strikes here, but we have enough to kind of go quickly through our efficiencies that we
Yeah.
find using other products.
Yeah, let's go through it. So I've got some programs and some lifestyle choices. The first one is I have officially made the complete switch to YouTube Music. Away from
Wow.
Spotify, I've moved to YouTube Music. I think that it's just so much more efficient at building playlists and recommending songs I'm actually going to like than Spotify was ever capable of doing. I think because YouTube Music uses the entire history of my YouTube channel, which is going, I've had a YouTube account for 15 years. So it uses all of my aggregate data to to recommend songs and stuff for me. So I've officially switched to that. That builds on my playlist. It's how I find new music, and it's way more efficient and easier to use for me than Spotify. Another one is getting my auto coffee pot. That saves me so much time away from having to
I
do.
I got a question on the YouTube. How much
Okay,
is
go
it?
for it.
You got
YouTube.
to give me the
Oh,
comparison.
so I have YouTube Premium, and I
Okay.
think for regular people it's 14.99 a month. I get it for 7.99 a month because I'm a student right now.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
a little bit more affordable
Nice. That is
than
affordable.
Spotify. So it's I think the kind of comparatively the same price as Spotify for most people's accounts. But I think the biggest part is getting YouTube Premium doesn't have it means I don't have ads on YouTube anymore, which is a huge thing for me. That was my least favorite thing. So it takes away the ads and then gives you YouTube Music. So I think that that one is worth every penny for me. And it
Yeah.
pairs really well with Android Auto and everything, all the apps that I use work really well. Going away from that, so the auto coffee pot. So I used to do a lot of French press, but it took a lot of time. Switching to just the auto coffee pot, click it, tell it what time you want it to get it, turn it on, and then I wake up to coffee ready to go the next morning. That has saved me a lot of time. And, I'm not really picky about my coffee anymore. I was at one point in life, but now I just kind of drink it because I like the flavor and want the caffeine. So I have just that auto coffee pot going. I got a Google Calendar widget for my phone screen, and that has been a huge thing with my efficiency because I'm actually remembering the things that I've said I'm going to do because it actually pops up on my Google Calendar now. Before, I
Oh.
would check my calendar every couple of days. Oh, crap, that's right. I have a thing on Monday. Then it comes to Monday and I totally forget I have that thing. Whereas now it's on the front page of my phone. So every time I open my phone, it's showing me what my calendar is for the next few days. And that has been a game changer for me,
Hmm.
remembering the things that I'm actually needing to do. And then it may sound weird, but the efficiency built into my life just showering at night. I mean, I'm telling you, showering at night has been a game changer for me to get ready for bed because it makes me feel clean. I get so much better sleep when I do it. And then when I get up in the morning, I can just get up, get ready, and go. I don't have to shower to have that whole process in the morning. And it's made me more efficient in the mornings. And I'm getting much better sleep and more efficient in the evenings. So that one, I always made fun of my brother because he's a religious shower at night person. And I was like, no, that's weird. And then because I want to feel fresh before the day starts. And he goes, no, trust me. It'll change your life. And I will say it has been amazing to shower at night. So those are just some of the other efficiency gains that I've brought in this last quarter.
I love that. It's- You're a changed man.
Change, man,
You
completely
got
different.
showering at night. Love it. So yeah, my big ones have been, I guess now officially it's called the live activities tab on your iPhone. So if you're an iOS user, I think this is very similar to something you have on your Android interface, Sean. It's pretty much the things that cue a banner on your lock screen.
Mm,
So when originally, they're actually kind of a bane, but depending on, I'm not a big banner guy. That's the way I think
yep.
it's technically called is banners. So that's the little things that pop up when you have a notification. I choose to actually mute most of those
Hmm.
because I don't find it value. If anything, it's just more noise.
It's a distraction.
It's just more distraction. So that's why I filter them through a work and do not disturb especially when I'm at work. But the thing that I found, Sean, is like most parts of our smartphones, over time, the software, we've hit this plateau, right? Where we're not now no longer continually pushing the software to new heights
Hmm.
in terms of its capabilities. We're refining. I
Yeah.
call this now the smoothing out the edges. Everything now has been a nuanced push towards design and functionality. And that's where I want to be in my life. I want to be at designed efficiency and it being centered around good functionality. And they really are, again, I don't know if you've paid attention to the iOS side of it, but they have this thing now that they call the dynamic island. And it's just pretty much using something that's already there, a black spot in your screen, but moving your screen around that black spot and acting
Mm,
using it as sort of a way to show data and move data across and sort of say like, okay, over on this side it's good, and then maybe it moves through the other side, it's out. Or there's so many interesting cues they can do. And again, it's a touch point even. They'll have like little, they'll have what track you're on. They'll have
Hmm.
where your flight is, where your Uber is, where your uh, what your next direction can be, up in these little bite-sized, like you were kind of saying, your Google Calendar.
Yep.
Same thing. It's like giving you a quick, not anything overbearing. And that's the key here that I want to highlight with these activity panes that they've been working through with developers. It's not about overbearing data. It's about, hey, your next direction, dummy, is turn right on
Hmm.
Sasiman Street. Okay, good. I kept you on the path. And it's like, that's what I want to be told. I want to be kept on the path so I don't lose time having to make a U turn
Yeah.
without having to completely unlock my phone or know where my Uber is. When do I actually go walk outside? That's another one, right? It's like that's sort of an anxiety side of ride hailing when you had to always be unlocking your phone multiple times. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Now it just pops up and you can sort of allow it on Apple that the first time it starts popping up with prompts that are just
Hmm.
live on your standby screen. Because again, it's not unlocked, right? It's just saying,
Yeah.
Bing, you've got something going on the inside here. Are you okay with me showing you this? And if you say yes, allow it. That's good data.
Hmm.
That's something I want to know. I'm actually presently engaging with that application versus, hey, you got a Gmail. Hey, you got a text message. Hey, you got, it's like that stuff. Okay, I'll get to that when I can, but I'm not actively engaging with that communication at the moment. That can
Yeah.
come in at any time. And again, I think that's the difference here. It's, am I actively engaging with an application or am I being prompted un unabated, right? It's just, hey, anybody around the world could text you at 1 a.m. I don't want to see that. I
Yeah.
turn my phone off. So the other thing I will highlight outside of the live activities is just the specific apps that have been unbelievable. I mentioned Avis. When you are renting a car, download the app. I'm telling you right now, it has changed my life. I don't have to go to the counter. One of the worst things ever about renting a car for me was always going to the counter and waiting in line.
Yeah.
That problem is gone. I go on my app when I land. On the screen, it says your car is waiting in stall B29. Get in and drive away. I
Yeah.
get in. I You're gonna laugh, Sean. I can't believe this is my old man moment. Get in my car. It was a VW Atlas. Never driven it before. I turn it on. All the vents blaring like max air. I'm not gonna lie, Sean. It took me 5 minutes, and I did not ask ChatGPT. I just literally said, "Okay, where's the where's the climate control?"
Hmm.
I'm going into the settings because I had like there was something going on the screen, but it was not climate. It was, I don't even know. It was something. And I think it was like, do you want to connect your phone? I'm like, no, I want to turn off this AC that's blasting. It's not that cold right now. I, underneath, so you know how you have like the center tree, there's the
Hmm.
screen above, and then you have the vents. Underneath the vents, there was a four-way communications button console that had the different things. Drive mode. It was didn't even say climate. It said CLIMA. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most German thing I have ever experienced. They want me to literally know without knowing where this little tiny button is. And it doesn't
Hmm.
even say climate, it just says CLMA with the little sunshine. So then I press that, and then the screen turns to the climate side. The other thing, the driver previous to me had it in Celsius. So that was just another data thing. I was driving me
Uh-huh.
insane. I'm like, I was trying to turn it up or down. It's like 21. I don't even think it said C. It just said 21. And I was going, what is that? 21? I'm like, am I turning up the radio? This, I had my moment of feeling like I was on the verge of not knowing how to do technology, Sean.
Hmm.
I can't believe it. But anyway, get a good app and get use that for your rental car. That's all I have time to share. There's plenty of other apps that have been great and software is really here to stay. Banking, email, all of these things that we get to interact with on our phones now that make it so much more efficient. If you're not using them, listeners, I think this should just be obvious, Sean, right? But if you're not, listeners, download the app and start trying it. We are here now. Like it's safe, it's effective, and it is efficient. Oh my goodness. I would not be able to manage all the bills that I have without
Hmm.
my app. I'm just going to just lay it right out there. Throw the checkbook away. Sean, anything else to add here?
Nope, I think we've hit everything that we needed to cover in this episode. I'm really excited for the comments and things to roll in from the listeners and let us know your opinions and the ways that you use AI that maybe we didn't mention. There's always something we could learn.
Seriously. And maybe there's an app that you use that's way better than Avis. I find it, but it's a debatable
Hmm.
comparison, but potentially it's out there. All right, listeners, thank you so much. This episode will be coming up to you at the regularly slated time, 6 a.m. Friday, best day of the week. And Sean and I will be back to you next week as we close out Q3 and let him go off to Japan. He'll come back with just oh man, so many stories. I can't wait to hear it with his bag. No roller bag though.
Nope.
And listeners, if you have anything to share or say, you can leave them in the comments below. Send us a Gmail. And please, on your way out, feel free to drop us a 5-star review and or follow the show. That's what keeps the neon on around here. And it's really important for us to stay business oriented. I mean, having the lights on. With that, if you want more, you know where to find us at the How
How
to
to
Hobby
hobby
podcast.
podcast.